Yugoslavia, a country with missing parts, with terrorist groups owning territory in their republics. And with the new millennium starting, Yugoslavia's place in the world stands to change. From being an important power with the standpoint of the non-aligned country in the Cold War that was self-dependent, to becoming an isolated country with no allies or economic partners, and becoming an economically crippled country with much corruption and separation upon the state. And on top of that, Yugoslavia had international UN sanctions against the country and the state was on the verge of collapse, with Bosnia controlled and funded by terrorists made by NATO against us. Yugoslavia's first military act was to send all militias and military to the borders of the rebel-occupied or disrupted states. Most of these rebels reside in Bosnia and Kosovo. For the beginning of the year 2000, Yugoslavia started to do diplomatic relations with foreign nations. One of the major countries Yugoslavia did diplomatic talks with was with the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics, the former superpower of the world, now on its last limbs with parts of the empire leaving, which is kind of the same situation Yugoslavia was at the same time, strengthening both economic and military cooperation. With the Yugoslav-Soviet friendship established, Yugoslavia bought shitloads worth of military materials. Many NATO politicians and members saw this as a waste of money. But there was a reason for Yugoslavia to do this. The Yugoslav government knew they'd have to go through a civil war over Bosnia and Kosovo. Therefore, buying military only prepared Yugoslavia for the inevitable. And of course, nothing bad ever happened. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me! On the 20th of October 2000, the nationalist extremists performed a coup. The coup succeeded. The new Yugoslav government wanted to distance itself away from socialism. But this didn't particularly mean that they would join the West. Actually, quite the opposite. Yugoslavia's government was still anti-NATO. Yugoslavia's new government still wanted Croatia and Slovenia back into fold. Under Vojislav Šešelj, Serbia would be under new military and education reforms. This would include promoting Serbian nationalism to the youth and the military. Starting September 10th, 2001, the Resistance Coalition was established. The goal was to eradicate Serbian control from minority-occupied states. The pact consisted of Macedonians, Bosnians, Albanians, and even the Serbian people. At the start of the Serbian-Arc Coalition War, the Arc Coalition was gaining Serbian territory. But slowly after the failed assassination attempt on Vojislav Šešelj, the Serbian army got their shit together. After the original Arc Coalition advances into Serbia, the Yugoslav government orchestrated a counteroffensive, named Operation Save Serbia. The operation would create an offensive into Bosnia and Herzegovina. For the first 2 months of the operation, the mission worked, disrupting Bosnian supply lines for mass bombing sprees and destroying Herzegovina military bases. But after the operation started, Croatia and NATO help arrived, slowing and stopping the Serbian offensive. But there was one other advantage Serbia had over the Arc Coalition that would help Serbia tremendously. Serbia had more advanced and experienced generals than any of the other Arc Coalition countries, which led to Serbia being able to encircle territories near the capital. This eventually allowed Serbia to disarm 50,000 Arc Coalition troops. With this Serbian victory, the rest of the Arc Coalition armies would fall. After the defeat of Bosnia, the morale of the Arc Coalition was at its lowest, seeing the Serbians only getting stronger and stronger. Serbia came from first losing territory to being able to defeat the strongest countries in the alliance. The Serbian second operation was Operation Cleanup, which figuratively wanted to clean up all of the surrounding rebel states occupied by Herzegovina people. Finally, on November 4th, 2001, Serbia defeated both Bosnia and Herzegovina, leaving only the south of Macedonia and Kosovo left against the Serbian army. The Serbians had an estimated troop amount of 370,000, while the rest of the Arc Coalition had less than half of that. And Serbia having the more advanced generals, the Arc Coalition was mostly fucking screwed. Finally, the Serbians started their last and final operation on November 8th, 2001. Operation Last Strike. The strike was a success, speeding through Macedonia and crushing Kosovo, which this led to the death of the coalition. And finally, Greater Serbia was established. After the end of the crisis, the Serbian government was doing better than ever, with the economy rising back up due to subsidizing rebel materials and selling old or unused equipment to countries in their own crises. But instead of just fixing the economy, the Serbians had other ideas for what they wanted to do. Serbia still needed revenge. On July 12, 2002, the Serbian state would declare war on Slovenia and Croatia. Advance was slow at first, but after the Serbian Air Force was fully collected, the Croatian planes were destroyed along with any amount of planes Slovenia had at the time, along with a Serbian offensive to eastern Croatian territories, encircling a high amount of Croatian troops, leading to half of the Croatian and Slovenian forces being capitulated, allowing the main Serbian forces to the rest of the territories, officially ending the Yugoslav wars, with Serbia as the victors, annexing all territories. After taking all original Yugoslav territories, NATO started to push Serbia to submit to their rule, which led to Serbian diplomatic politicians to try and negotiate terms of, in quotation mark, peace with NATO. To appease NATO, Serbia offered a contract with the Western countries, consisting of the United States, Britain, and France. The agreement states that NATO is allowed to move military through Serbia, but in return, NATO and the West had to be prohibited from intervening in Serbian politics, and on top of that, a non-aggression pact would be signed between all NATO members in the Republic of Serbia. After the Treaty of was signed, the international sanctions would eventually go away due to the close-knit relationship with the West and Serbia. With the massive growth to the Serbian economy, more money would go to the military to protect. Since the 2000s, the Yugoslav decade seemed to be reachable, with one of the strongest European armies in hegemon status over the Balkans. But Vučić has one more idea on how to finally make Yugoslavia great again.
Najavljena je srpska invazija na granicu Albanije. U invaziju dolazi 150,000 najbolje obučenih srpskih vojnika. Naše političke analize predviđaju da će se rat završiti za manje od 4 nedelje. Kroz operaciju LAL ili Oslobodite Albaniju, Srbija najverovatnije planira uspostavljanje marionetske vlade. Prvog dana invazije aktivirano je masovno bombardovanje albanskih vojnih i političkih struktura.
With the start of the invasion, Serbia had many problems, one of these problems being Albanian fortifications, which at first the invasion was a stalemate due to Albanians only needing to protect one line of defense. But after the political stability of Albania fell, the pieces started to crumble. With Albanian nationalists and Albanian far-right groups taking power, the socialist government was over, in which Serbia offered the Albanian nationalists their own state for help in the war, which was accepted by the people of Albania. On September 29th, 29 days after the first day of the operation, Albanian front lines were destroyed, which led to the Serbian forces walking through Albania, ending the war on September 30th. After 2004, Serbia started to go on the rise, with Serbia leaving wars and starting to close in relations with the West and new powers such as China and India. Along with, Vučić would resign in 2008, with Serbia would adapt to more federalist ways of running the country. And after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Serbia would eventually join NATO due to the benefits of joining. And on top of that, Serbia would eventually occupy Vidin in the name of freeing the South Slavs in 2007. While this did ruin the relations between Bulgaria and Serbia, it didn't really matter. Serbia was a part of NATO, and could block Bulgaria from joining if Bulgaria needed the alliance's help. What just happened? Oh, I got a message. Alright, so I'm gonna end the video. If you like the video, subscribe, please like. This is my first video, please, I need this. I need this.